I've raised Shih Tzus for more than 10 years. And during that time, I've also spent a lot of time with Pomeranians caring for them, living with them, filming them. The longer I live with dogs, the more I believe one thing: comparing Pom and Shih Tzu is not about choosing which breed is better, but about choosing which one will not drain you even further. I started with Pomeranians first. Pom looks tiny, fluffy, always as if it's permanently in alert mode. Living with a Pom is like living with a creature that never fully sleeps. You stand up, it notices. You sigh, it lifts its head. A strange sound in the house, and it barks. Not because it's badly behaved, but because it was born to be on watch. Pom carries the DNA of a working dog. Even now, when it only weighs a few kilos, that instinct is still completely intact. Pom gives you the feeling of being constantly noticed. For many people, that feels great. You feel important. You feel like you're never forgotten. But if you live with a Pom long enough, you start to notice another side. It demands a steady flow of responsive energy. If you're tired, if you need quiet, Pom doesn't understand that right away. It's still there, still barking, still reminding you, I'm here, react to me. Shih Tzu is the opposite. The first time I raised a Shih Tzu, I thought it was slow. It didn't chase after me, didn't bark immediately, didn't react fast. But a few years later, I understood it isn't slow, it's selective. Shih Tzu observes a lot before it acts. You change seats. It doesn't immediately follow. It watches. It waits until you've settled. Then it moves. It sounds small. But if you live together long enough, you realize this is a very rare kind of presence. Shih Tzu wasn't born to work. It was born to be with humans. So its closeness is not loud. It doesn't need to bark to prove it's there. It just needs to be there for a long time. There are evenings when I say nothing. Just sit there. The Shih Tzu lies close by my feet. It doesn't ask for attention. It doesn't demand play. But when I stand up to go to bed, it follows. Not sooner. Not later. In terms of size, many people think Pom is bigger because of the fur. But in reality, Shih Tzu is more solid, heavier. This makes a real difference in daily life. Shih Tzu feels secure in your arms, stable when it lies down. Pom is light, agile, but also more easily stimulated by its surroundings. As for fur, this is where many people get fooled. Pom sheds a lot. Shih Tzu sheds less. But that doesn't mean it's easy. Raising a Shih Tzu means accepting regular brushing, skin care, maintaining the coat. In return, you don't live in a house constantly covered in flying fur like with a Pom. I've seen many people fall in love with Pom because it's beautiful, then get shocked by fur everywhere. Training is the same. Pom learns fast, reacts fast. Very suitable for people who enjoy teaching, interacting, performing. Shih Tzu learns a bit more slowly, not because it's less intelligent, but because it doesn't see an immediate reason to please you. It doesn't flatter. It suits people who are patient, who don't force. After 10 years of raising Shih Tzus and creating content with Poms, I've come to a very honest conclusion that few comparison videos talk about. Choosing Pom or Shih Tzu is really choosing a rhythm of life. If you're in a phase where you need movement, interaction, a creature that reacts strongly to your existence, Pom will make you feel constantly present in the world. If you're tired, overloaded, living in a life full of noise, Shih Tzu will give you a very different kind of connection, being together without being required to become someone. No breed is better. There are only breeds that fit the version of you right now. And the interesting thing is this: when you change, your perception of the breed changes with you. Raising a dog, in the end, is not about choosing an animal. It's about choosing how you want to live alongside another living being. Every day. In very long silences. The issue is this. When you first start learning about dogs, you'll see people talk a lot about intelligence, quickness, trainability, and yes, Pomeranians are very intelligent. They react quickly, learn commands fast, read signals extremely well. For first-time dog owners, that feeling is very satisfying. You call, it turns its head. You raise your hand, it stands up. You feel like you're forming a strong connection with another being. But if you live long enough, you'll realize this fast reactions are not the same as long-term compatibility. Pom is always in a state of readiness, ready to listen, ready to react, ready to speak up. That makes it an excellent alert dog. But it also means it rarely truly rests. And when you live with a creature that doesn't know how to rest, it takes a long time before you realize you don't get to rest either. I've met many people who love Pomeranians, but after a few years they start to complain about exhaustion. Not because they hate dogs, but because every day they come home to another layer of stimulation: barking, watchful eyes, constant reactions. Some days you just want silence. But the dog in front of you is telling you in every possible way, I'm here. Pay attention. Shih Tzu is different. Very different. In a way that only long-term owners truly understand. A Shih Tzu doesn't need to prove its presence. It isn't afraid of being forgotten. It lies there, breathing evenly, waiting for you to finish whatever you're doing. When you stand up, it follows. When you sit down, it lies close. Not intrusive, not demanding, not pressuring. A kind of closeness that feels very mature. There's one evening I remember clearly. I was working late, mind empty, body tired. My Shih Tzu didn't come over right away. It stayed in the corner of the room. Only when I let go of the keyboard and sighed did it stand up, walk over, and rest its chin on my leg. Not to play, just to be there. And strangely enough, just that was enough. That was the moment I understood Shih Tzu doesn't give you the feeling of being closely monitored. It gives you the feeling of being allowed to slow down. In terms of size, many people think Pom is smaller, so easier to raise. But in reality, Shih Tzu is more solid, more grounded, more stable when lying down. It doesn't jump up at every small sound. It doesn't get swept away by the environment as easily. That may sound minor, but living with it every day feels very different. And about fur, I'll say it plainly. Pom is beautiful. Very beautiful. But that beauty comes with fur everywhere. If you're someone who gets stressed by mess, by clothes covered in hair, Pom will test you. Shih Tzu also needs regular brushing. But in return, you don't live with the constant feeling of cleaning up after something. Training follows the same pattern. Pom learns fast. But it needs you to be consistent and responsive all the time. Shih Tzu learns more slowly. But once it's used to something, it's very stable. It doesn't need you to perform every day to maintain the bond. And here, I want to say something very real, not a marketing line. Not something said for effect. If you're in a phase where you want to move forward, stay busy. Be pulled out of silence, Pomeranian will fit. If you're in a phase where you need calm, recovery. A living being beside you without demands, Shih Tzu will be there. No dog breed saves you from life itself. But choosing the right breed, at the right time, can help you not become even more exhausted. And that's what 10 years of raising Shih Tzus has taught me, not about dogs, but about how humans need permission to slow down. There's one thing very few dog comparison videos talk about, yet it determines how you feel after years of ownership: the nervous system. Behavioral science calls it baseline arousal, the on or rest state a creature maintains for most of its life. Breeds with working, guarding, or alerting origins, tend to maintain a higher baseline arousal. Their brains are used to constantly scanning the environment, reacting to small signals, and producing behavior to control the situation. Pomeranian sits squarely in that category. Even though today the Pom is a companion dog, its brain still carries the structure of a working dog, highly sensitive to sound, movement, and changes in space. That's why even small noises are enough to trigger a response. This explains why Poms bark a lot, struggle to let things go, and constantly want to alert you that something is happening, biologically. When living long-term in such a highly stimulating environment, low-level stress hormones are released frequently, not strong enough to cause immediate problems, but enough to make both the dog and the owner unable to fully relax. Longtime Pom owners often don't notice this, because they slowly adapt, until one day they realize they're always slightly tired, slightly tense, even though nothing particularly bad is happening. Shih Tzu is the opposite. Shih Tzus were bred for hundreds of years to do just one thing: stay close to humans in enclosed spaces. Not to guard, not to hunt, not to work. Because of that, their nervous systems tend to be more stable, less reactive to small stimuli. Simply put, they don't feel the need to speak up about everything. Science calls this good nervous system regulation, the ability to return to a baseline state after stimulation. This explains why Shih Tzus can lie still for long periods, don't need constant feedback, and especially don't force their owner's attention to maintain connection. And here is the most important insight that only long-term owners truly understand. Dogs don't just affect your emotions. They affect your biological rhythm every single day. If you live with a creature that is always alert, your brain learns to stay alert too. If you live with a creature that knows how to rest, your brain is given permission to rest as well. There's a well-known study showing that petting a dog reduces cortisol, the stress hormone, and increases oxytocin, the bonding hormone. But what research often doesn't clearly state is, the effect is strongest when the dog itself is relaxed. Petting a tense dog does not feel the same as petting a dog that is breathing slowly, fully at ease. That's why many Shih Tzu owners tell me they don't play with their dogs that much. Yet they feel a stronger sense of recovery. Not because the Shih Tzu does something special, but because it doesn't demand anything. Its calm presence allows the human body nearby to slow down. On the other hand, Pom is wonderful if you're lacking motivation, interaction, or the feeling of being noticed. For people who live alone or need social stimulation, Pom can be a lifesaver. But if you're already living in a life that's too loud, too fast, too full of signals, Pom can unintentionally become another source of stimulation, even though it has no bad intentions at all. And this is the line I often say to viewers. Even though it isn't pretty, dogs don't heal you, but they can make your burnout happen faster or slower. So if you're choosing between a Pomeranian and a Shih Tzu, ask yourself one very direct question. When I come home at the end of the day, do I need a living being to pull me up, or a living being that allows me to come down? That answer will tell you which breed fits you better, more accurately than any comparison chart on the internet. There's a very common phenomenon among long-term dog owners that rarely gets named: emotional synchronization between humans and dogs. Science calls this emotional contagion, the idea that emotions can spread between living beings that stay close to each other over long periods of time. Dogs don't understand language the way humans do, but they are extremely sensitive to breathing patterns, tone of voice, subtle movements, and the scent of stress hormones. Over time, a dog's brain learns your rhythm of life, and in return, your brain also learns the dog's rhythm of response. This is where the difference between Pomeranian and Shih Tzu becomes very clear. With Pom, this transmission often moves in an amplifying direction. You're slightly tense, the Pom becomes more alert, you get further stimulated by its reaction. A small loop, not a crisis, but a prolonged one. Many people don't realize they're living in a constant low-level tension until they can no longer remember what fully relaxed actually feels like. This explains why some Pom owners say, "I love it so much, but I always feel a bit tired." Not because Pom is wrong, but because those two nervous systems are resonating in an accelerating direction. Shih Tzu creates the opposite effect. Shih Tzus tend to absorb emotion rather than react immediately. When you're tense, it doesn't rush to respond. It lies there, breathing slowly, body relaxed, and strangely enough, the human brain is very good at mirroring the breathing rhythm of nearby living beings. No training required. No meditation needed. Just proximity over time. Many people tell me they don't notice what their Shih Tzu does for them, but on an evening when the dog isn't there, they suddenly feel the room emptier than usual. Not empty because of missing noise, but empty because a stable rhythm of life is no longer there to lean on. And, here, I want to touch on a very real insight, one that may be a bit hard to hear, but is extremely important. Many people choose dogs to compensate for what they are lacking, rather than for what they actually need. Those who lack connection choose Pom. Those who lack quiet choose Shih Tzu. But if you are already exhausted and still choose a breed that requires constant response, you won't be saved. You will simply become busier inside your exhaustion. On the other hand, there are stages in life when a bit of noise, a bit of being pulled out of silence, is exactly what's needed. At those times, Shih Tzu can feel too quiet, and Pom becomes the one that forces you to get up, to speak, to react. So the real question isn't, which breed is easier to raise? It is, which breed fits my current nervous system state? 10 years of raising Shih Tzus taught me a very humble lesson. Raising a dog is not about controlling another being. It is about allowing another living being to influence the rhythm of your life every single day. And if you choose wrong, the cost isn't money or effort. The cost is a quiet, prolonged exhaustion that's hard to name. And in the end, after all the comparisons, evidence, science, and lived experience, I want to stop at a conclusion that takes no sides. Pomeranians are not too loud. Shih Tzus are not passive. They are simply loyal to the instincts humans created for them. Pom carries the rhythm of alertness, reaction, and constant connection with the right person at the right stage of life. That energy pulls them back into the world, back into movement, back into the feeling of being present. Shih Tzu carries the rhythm of stability, observation, and staying close. With the right person, at the right time, it creates something very rare, being at peace without being abandoned. Science doesn't say which breed is better. Experience doesn't give a universal answer either. The only thing that's clear is this: dogs do not live separately from their owners' lives. Your breathing, your stress level, the way you come home each evening, all of it gradually becomes their environment. And in return, their presence quietly reshapes the rhythm of your life as well. So choosing between Pomeranian and Shih Tzu is not choosing a breed. It's choosing a relationship that will last for many years, where two living beings influence each other every day, in very small but very enduring ways. If you need to be pulled upward, called out, reminded that the world is still moving, Pomeranian may be the right companion. If you need to slow down, to be accompanied, to be calm without having to explain, Shih Tzu may be the right choice. There is no perfect answer for everyone. There is only an answer that fits the version of you right now. And when you choose a dog with honesty toward yourself, you are not just raising an animal. You are choosing how you will live for the years to come, slower, faster, quieter, or more full of movement. That is what 10 years of raising Shih Tzus, and many years living alongside Pomeranians, have taught me.